Shalom Israel. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak, Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect. And hey man, Thawadi Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai for allowing me to do another lesson. This lesson was inspired while I was at work, and I was thinking about how Esau Edom, the so-called white man, he'll deport an immigrant, a so-called immigrant, all right, which most times is Jake, you so-called Hispanics, all right, if they are committing crimes, if they're being a menace to that society, and as I was thinking about doing this lesson, this picture actually came into my head. If you don't like America, you can get out, because the way they see it, the way these, the inhabitants of this world, the so-called white man, the way they see it is that to be here is a privilege. And if you can't respect the rules, if you can't respect the privilege of being here, then you're going to get deported. Okay? And, hey, that shoe's going to be turned back onto the so-called white man's foot. All right? Because here it is. This is not his land. All right? And this is not his land. Okay? So you see how it got the eagle, because the eagle, which represents pride, all right, it represents pride, and it represents America. Okay? So this is let's see, Slocky. 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 2. Actually, I'm going to start at the top. It says, and Hannah prayed and said, my heart rejoiceth in Yahweh, because Hannah was speaking through the Spirit. Hannah is the mother of Samuel. Mine horn is exalted in Yahweh. My mouth is enlarged over mine enemies, because I rejoice in thy salvation. There is none holy as Yahweh, for there is none beside thee, neither is there any rock like our power. And Yahweh, whom the world ignorantly calls God, he is the God of the whole universe. As it is written in Daniel's, in the book of Daniel, how the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men. He putteth up one, if he taketh down one, and he putteth up another. Roughly paraphrasing. Talk no more so exceeding proudly. Which that quote just said, what, if you don't like America, you can get out. Which is what basically, Esau, these the rulers that the rulers to be, if you will, are saying once they deport so-called immigrants, Mexicans. Let not arrogancy come out of your mouth. For Yahweh is a God of knowledge, and by him actions are weighed. Okay? For the Most High is a God of knowledge, and by him actions are weighed. All right? And the Most High is a just power. The scriptures say a false balance is an abomination to the Heavenly Father, man. Okay? So when, like I said, I'm speaking through the Spirit, and, just by us knowing, scriptures and understanding how the Lord works to an extent, to, of course, from the scriptures that he have given us, all right, we know that if you're going to judge a person and you're not right, you're labeled as a hypocrite. All right, which the word hypocrite goes into the word actor. All right, and Esau is the biggest actor. He's the biggest hypocrite there is, man. Okay, he's the biggest hypocrite there is. So this is Matthew chapter 7 and verse 1. It says, judge not, that ye be not judged. All right, like they say in the world, what? You point a finger and three more pointing back at you. So you got to make sure when you judge that you're actually in a right to judge. Okay? For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. And with what measure ye meet, it shall be measured to you again. Okay? And with that, I want to get into this site I have found, which says common crimes making visa or green card holders deportable: theft, burglary, assault. That's Esau Edom in a nutshell, man. A thief, all right, a robber, and he assaults, man. You know, you know. When Cristobal Colon, otherwise known as Christopher Columbus, come over here, all right, he said he discovered America, when in fact he knew that the Native Americans were over here, man. He said he knew that the Native Americans, or I mean, he knew Slack, not the Native Americans, which they're really Gadites and Ephraimites, Manassites, the so-called Hispanics and Native today. All right, he knew they were over here, man. All right, he knew they inhabited this land. All right, so that will make him a thief, because he took this land from them and then put them in slavery. Okay, and assault, he didn't do it in a peaceful manner. He did it violently. All right, so it says if you are a non-citizen of the U.S., all right, which I'm gonna stop a lot because I want to dissect this, man, but willing to be edifying, man. It says non-citizen, quick Google search, a person who is not an inhabitant or national of a particular country or town. Okay, and Cristobal Colon, he came all the way from Europe. Okay, he came all the way from Europe to the Americas, man. Which that was his original home, man. I believe it was Italy. He was an Italian. So it says if you are a non-citizen of the U.S., that's strike one. So Esau was a non-citizen of this place, all right, which they call it America, which that also goes to prove, as it says in Psalms 49:11, all right, which in the inward part is that the house shall continue forever. And they name countries after their lands, man. Countries that they've taken down. All right? Because this place wasn't originally owned, all right, by the by the elites. All right? This place was originally, if you will, inhabited or owned. All right? Really, hey, Salaki, this place was really inhabited, all right, by the so-called natives, man. So they were the real citizens. So you can say that the natives were the real citizens, all right? And the Edomites, the so-called Europeans that came over here, are the real non-citizens. If you are a non-citizen of the U.S. and have been convicted of a crime, nearly any crime, there's a serious possibility that you could be deported, removed from the United States. So guess what? Yahweh Shem Yahushai, hey, let me just keep going, Slakia. It says, there is a serious possibility that you could be deported, removed from the United States. Okay? This is true whether or not you are here in lawful status. There you go. This is true whether or not you are here in lawful status. So whether you feel, whether you Edomites, all right, whether you feel like you're here lawfully or not, all right, which you're not here lawfully, you could be deported, and you will be deported when Yahweh Shem Yahushai comes, man. You're going to be deported right into slavery. You might hold a valid visa or be a lawful permanent residence, green card holder, but you can still be deported for a crime. If you're not in lawful status in the U.S., you can, of course, be deported on that basis alone. Okay? So Esau so gung-ho about these laws. All right? Hey, you should put your own self in slavery, man. Well, we know, Esau's a hypocrite. He's not going to do that. So it says, ideally, you should have consulted with an immigration attorney soon after the arrest to get advice on how to negotiate with the prosecutor so that your conviction, if it was unavoidable, has the least possible effect on your immigration status. All right? And that makes me think of, hey, you should have consulted with Esau need to consult with Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All right? So when he comes back, basically you pleading your cause right now, man. Because when he come back, you're definitely guilty. You know what I'm saying? But, you want to plead your cause plead your case now. All right, but that involves what? You humbling yourself, and we know Esau's not going to do that. Whether or not that happened, we're going to assume that the conviction is now a done deal. It's now a done deal. And when I think about that, hey man, Revelations chapter 13 verse 9. If a man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. Did not you lead our people into captivity? All right. You know, you look up slavery and who you find, man. The so-called African Americans, which are the Judites, man. Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. All right. We were stolen off the west coast of Africa, and right, and stayed in place of the northern, man, because you slaughtered them off so greatly, man. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And this is out of the mouth of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, man. Okay? These scriptures represent the mind of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, if you didn't know. So how does the Lord weigh actions? Well, read the scriptures. Okay? So it says, whether or not that happened, we're going to assume that the conviction is now a done deal. It's on your record. And now it's time to look in the basics of the legal analysis that must happen next. So guess what? Now we got to look at, okay, what's done is done. Okay? Like people say, forget about slavery. All right? Well, are you going to forget about so-called 9/11? Are you going to forget about Pearl Harbor? No, man. You know? When 9/11, September 11th comes, they always have a moment of silence for the victims, man. Well, where's the moment of silence for Israel, man? All right? Let's look at the 3 of the most common crimes that can lead to removal and how one need to analyze whether the convicted person will in fact be ordered deported. Okay? It says analyzing whether a crime is a ground of deportation. It says U.S. immigration law contains a long list of grounds of deportability. That is reason a person can be removed from the United States. Crimes comprise a large part of that list. It says, but the crimes are in many cases described only in general terms. Then it becomes a matter for legal argument. Does the crime that the immigrant was convicted of, which conviction most likely was handed down in state court under that state's laws, match the federal law description of one of the grounds of deportability? Answering this involves looking into at minimum 3 concerns. It says, is the crime one of moral turpitude? Which I look up the word turpitude, and it means depravity or wickedness, immorality. All right, so now when you read it in its proper context, is the crime one of moral wickedness? You know, and that's moral wickedness, man. All right, that's moral wickedness, man, to put a man in slavery for no reason, man. All right, because you feel like you're better than him, man. You know, when I was reading, what was it, the Bartholomew de las Casas, which he was supposedly like a so-called Dominican friar. Well, it's like he was a so-called friar, all right, of the time of Cristobal Colon. So he was writing down everything he's seen. And he's basically saying how the natives, they were so, calm and cool, collective. You know what I'm saying? As they are today. You know, they always, smiling and laughing, having a good time. They were very so-called docile. All right? So that made Esau feel like he was empowered to put these people in slavery. He was going into how the natives were, they were savages. That's why they call them Indians, man. Because of the blood sacrifices and stuff they were doing, which, I'm not going to say that was right. But at the same time, who are you to put somebody in slavery, man? For no reason at all, man. Like I said, man, they were very welcoming to Esau, the natives that were there at the time. So they had no right to put the natives in slavery. So since a non-citizen can be deported for either one crime of moral turpitude or moral wickedness committed within 5 years of admission to the U.S. Okay, and hey, from the moment Esau stepped foot on the ground, you know, all the way up until this very day, to where Jake is getting shot down mercilessly, getting beat the fuck up, and it's not just you, the so-called African Americans. There's articles and videos talking about why nobody talking about the Hispanic killings or the Native American killings, the rising numbers. So it says one crime of moral turpitude, moral wickedness committed within 5 years of admission to the U.S. if, according to the charging statute, a prison sentence of 1 year or more could have been handed down for the crime, and regardless of what sentence was actually imposed. All right, which Esau, hey, he's going to get, the scriptures say. Let me just get that. Oh, Revelations 18:6. This is a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. It says, reward her even as she have rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works, and the cup which she hath filled to her double. You know? Because for every action there is a reaction. You know, you run a red light, you get a ticket. Okay? You kill somebody, you go to jail. Alright? So if this is what you want to set up, Esau, you can't get mad when the tables turn upon you, man. That makes you a hypocrite. Alright? Are your laws, you know what I'm saying? Are these laws universal, or are they not, man? You know? That's what we got. Do your laws bring a stable society, or don't they, man? If they do, then you shouldn't be, it shouldn't be an issue, for you to have to follow these laws, talking about the leaders thereof, man. Okay, so it says, 2 or more crimes of moral turpitude that did not arise out of a single scheme of criminal misconduct. Is the crime an aggravated felony? A single conviction for an aggravated felony is enough to make a non-citizen deportable. It says, regardless of the length of possible sentence, it doesn't matter what the crime is called, felony or of otherwise. Immigration law contains its own definition, which we're going to go, I want to get this too. What's an aggravated felony according to the U.S. immigration law? If the term aggravated felony sounds, it refers like a serious crime, it should. Any non-citizen convicted of an aggravated felony will lose the right to many types of immigration benefits. I'm going to jump down to this because this is gets more into it. The difficulty with the term aggravated felony is that it comes from federal law, yet must be applied to crimes that were most likely prosecuted under a state law. There's a sort of mismatch in which state crimes that may sound minor to most people, did not involve violence, and may not even be called felonies, are nevertheless viewed as aggravated felonies by federal immigration authorities. Okay? So a misdemeanor, man. And that sounds like the 13th Amendment, man. That you were free unless, all right, you were in jail. So that's when Esau started to, make the threshold that much more smaller, man. To where if you don't have a seatbelt, you can go to jail. You know what I'm saying? It says a person with a misdemeanor. If you're driving with a seatbelt, hypothetically speaking, if you're driving with a seatbelt, you can go to jail. A person with a misdemeanor without a seatbelt, so like this is a person with a misdemeanor on his or her record could conceivably be told by U.S. immigration authorities that the crime was, in their view, an aggravated felony. Now, you know, a misdemeanor is something should otherwise would get a slap on the wrist. All right. Now, these are the list of the aggravated felonies, which these are pretty. Which I'm gonna read this too, man, because this Esau fits all of this. The list. This list includes, in brief summary, murder, rape, sexual abuse of a minor, Pizzagate, drug trafficking. We know Esau is playing drugs in the hood. Trafficking in firearms or destructive devices. Does not Esau spend, all right, billions of dollars, and he really, yeah, he spends billions of dollars, all right, in his military expenses, and he provides, you know what I'm saying, these so-called terrorist groups like ISIS with weapons as well, man. Trafficking in firearms or destructive devices, all right. Chemtrail in the air. That's the destructive device, man. Forgot about that. All right. The Wadi Habashin Shah. Help me remember. Various other offenses concerning firearms or explosive materials. Racketeering, money laundering of more than $10,000. All right. And we know Esau is big on money laundering, man. You know, he tax the shit out of you before you get your money. Fraud or tax evasion. All right, which I know the guy Aaron Russo, he did the video from Freedom to Fascism to really, they might have changed it by now. All right, but he was even going into, I think it might have been like the late 90s, to where Esau he was going to like IRS and stuff to see, you know, why are they taxing the people when you go into the Constitution or in their so-called laws or whatever. To tax a person is unconstitutional. All right. Theft or violent crime with a sentence order of at least 1 year, perjury with a sentence of at least 1 year, kidnapping, child pornography. That's Esau all the way. Trafficking in persons or running a prostitution business, spying, treason, or sabotage. This is all Esau's crimes, man. Commercial bribery, counterfeiting, forgery, or trafficking in vehicles, alien smuggling, failure to appear in court. Oh, that's I'm gonna read this one, the last one. Obstruction of justice, perjury, or bribery of a witness if the term of imprisonment was at least 1 year. 1 year. It says failure to appear in court on a felony charge for which a sentence of 2 years may be imposed. You know? So, hey, man, Esau got a lot to pay for. All right? Because the crime, you know, let's look at his, let's look at his 3 strikes. Is the crime one of moral turpitude, one of moral wickedness? Yes, it is. Okay? And he keeps, getting even worse, man. All right? Now he's making it okay for homosexuals to have rights. All right? To push pedophilia upon your little kid. That is a crime of moral wickedness, man. You know? Allowing these Catholic priests to get off when it's a known fact that they rape little boys. That is a crime of moral wickedness, man. You know, even in time of slavery, you know they was raping little Jake boys, all right, and selling off the little Jake girls. It tells you that in Joel the 3rd chapter. I believe it's Joel the 3rd chapter. Is a crime an aggravated felony? Which that can fall under the guise like we just read of kidnapping, trafficking, child pornography, child abuse. It's a known fact that Esau has his underground child sex ring. Is the crime one that's listed by name on the grounds of deportability? The full list is in section 237 of the INA and includes, for example, drug crimes, illegal firearms, possession or sales, espionage, domestic violence, stalking, child abuse or neglect, human trafficking, terrorist activity, and more in some cases. Was that's the spirit because I was just looking on this guy, the Ron Paul report. All right, which he was even bringing out how you had that guy Mike Pompeo. They even admitted that they lied, they cheat, and they steal. Let me see if I could grab it real quick. You know, brothers don't believe me. Watch that video. Pompeo finally tells the truth. We lie, we cheat, we steal. You know, and this is what's this guy? Secretary of Defense, I believe. Let's do a quick Google search. United States Secretary of State. You know. So Esau is guilty, man, on all fronts. You know that he likes to push on Jake's when really he's the one who's spearheading that. He's the one who's spearheading the moral turpitude, if you will. All right, or if he will, if he will. You know, it says terrorist activity and more. In some cases, terrorist activity. Let's not forget that this guy was it Bill Gates? He said that they wanna they want to start vaccinating the people because the population of the world is too big, basically meaning that they want to kill off more people. That's a terrorist activity, man. It says in more, in some cases, the crimes on this list might also be considered crimes of moral turpitude or aggravated felonies, but listing them separately leaves no doubt or room for argument. So Esau, you're done, man. You're done. All right? And I'll probably put it on the description box so brothers could read the rest for themselves. You know what? Salakia. Get this one. We always bring this out. This is Psalms let me see. 64. And I guess I'll start at the top and read down to 8. So the chief musician, a psalm of David. Hear my voice, O power, my prayer, in my prayer, Salakia. Hear my voice, O God, and my prayer. Preserve my life from the fear of the enemy. You know? Because here it is. I remember the brother Shalomah, he did a video a while back. So going into where how Esau, he's the person that, you know what I'm saying, throws the rock, starts the problem, but then hides his hand behind his back, you know, and looks at the next guy, you know what I'm saying, or acts confused as to what's going on, when he's the one who's actually starting the issues, man. He's the instigator. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. Okay? Because everything that Esau's doing, guess what? He's blaming it on us. You know? He's saying that we're the rapists. He's saying that we're the terrorists. When he's doing all of that. You know? There's no evidence that we're doing it, but there's all the evidence in the world that he's doing it. Who wet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. All right? And bitter words are like arrows, man. You know? Like the scripture said, a precious name is a good name is better than a precious ointment. So when you break a man's name down, all right, nobody wants to work with that man anymore, man. It says that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. You know, and they just keep doing bullshit but blaming it on Jake. Keep doing bullshit and blaming it on Jake. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? You know? So for that, they have pride because the Most High have not, you know what I'm saying, came down and judged them yet. Okay? You know? But the Most High is soon enough going to hit that gravel, man. All right? And judgment is going to come, which is, you know, them being destroyed, America being destroyed by the ICBM and nuclear missiles, which that's a heavy prophecy in itself, man, because America represents Esau Edom, man. It represents that pride, represents that slogan. If you don't like it, then leave. You know, it represents wickedness. All right, it represents the height of Esau's strength. Okay, because their military might is so strong. Okay, they search out iniquities, they accomplish it with a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them, and the heart is deep. But God shall shoot at them with an arrow, suddenly shall they be wounded. You know, and who's that arrow? First and foremost, starting off with the men of the Lord that's out there pushing his word, man. He's going to destroy them with the spirit of his mouth, and then by the brightness of his coming. You know, I always like to go into that analogy to where all the evidence is coming out on Esau, you know, which that's the spirit of his mouth. Because now, we're the real lawyers, we're the real priests. All right, present, our side, our defense into the Heavenly Father, man. All right, and then Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua being the judge, like we just read in 1 Samuel, the 2nd chapter. All right, he's weighing the matters, man. All right. It says, so shall they make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. So as we just read, man, the evidence is so overwhelming that the Most High has no choice but to agree in our favor, man. All right, because the Most High is for our turn, man. He's for the righteous. All right, so shall they make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. You know, they make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. And like we just read in Matthew the 7th chapter, for what judgment you shall judge, you're going to have to meet that judgment, man. Roughly paraphrasing. All that see them shall flee away, and all men shall fear and shall declare the work of God, for they shall wisely consider of his doing. The righteous shall be glad in the Lord, and shall trust in him, and all the upright in the heart shall glory. All right? So we're going to glory, man, because at the end of the day, we're going to win this court case, man. All right? And like the scripture said, let the saints sing aloud in on their bed and a two-edged sword in their hand, man, executing vengeance upon our wicked. All right? And we patiently waiting for that day, man. You know? Hey, so with that, again, Esau, the non-citizen, will be deported. Shalom to the elect.